In this video, we're going to look at a few of the options in the Swarf Milling cut pattern page from our previous video. Let's look at the cut pattern once more and notice how the tool pattern is cutting the side of the fin. So we'll come over here to the toolpath, left click. Using the S key on my keyboard, we'll start to bring that tool down. Just going to orientate a little bit. A few things we might want to look at. Do we like where it starts and ends? Do we like the motion of how the tool tilts as it keeps the side of the tool against the wall? So let's go ahead and look. So as I continue with the S key, we can see where it starts. And as the tool starts to move along, using the upper and lower considered rails of the actual edges of the face that we selected, the tool is nicely up against the side wall. So the cut pattern looks good. Okay, so now that we've gone ahead and looked at that, so these are just a few of the thoughts that we can easily change in the cut pattern. Now let's look at some of the options in the cut pattern. So we'll go back into the parameters here. And we're back to the cut pattern page. We have a swarf clearance. In this case, if we use this option, we can actually tell it to keep the tool away. For example, if you put in 5 millimeters, the tool will stay away with the side of the tool by 5 millimeters. And we can have an option for a different floor clearance. In this case, being the same thought, is where I could have 5 millimeters on the wall and 2 millimeters on the floor. We have the option, instead of using, say, for example, a face, we could use guide curves, being that we could create edge curves on the lower edge of that face and the upper edge, and those would control the tool motion instead of using the option with the face that we selected earlier. You can see that we have a few things set for automatic. I'm going to come over here to the extension. So right now it's set for automatic. I'm going to look at that start. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 3 millimeters. I'm going to go ahead and green check. Regenerate that. And let's start that tool again. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down a little bit using my S key. We can already see right here that the tool is now starting at a better place off the edge. Instead of starting at the end point of this face here, we wanted the tool to start off a little bit farther. So we can see we can actually extend that. And as it tilts and performs at that right angle, we'll go ahead and let that through. And we also have the option, we could extend that end piece out a little bit farther too. So if we went back into the parameters, we could actually change that value to, of course, 3 millimeters to extend that out. I'll left click here, and we can see that there's an extension here. Looking at some more of the options, in this case, the automatic being where it starts and ends. We could set it, for example, align to edges. So I'll go ahead and say OK. Regenerate that. And let's look how the tool comes in. So as you can see, it's showing us already here. So we'll bring that tool. You'll notice the tool actually, instead of coming in tilted away, the tool came in parallel basically to the Z, and then tilts into rotation, and then continues through. Going back into the parameters. And we can also start with a start angle, so we can define an angle that we want the tool to tilt to. We'll stay with automatic. Make sure you have a tolerance. Now also too, sometimes you might find that the swapping, being that if you find the tool wanting to come in from an opposite direction, that you can actually swap the controlling edges by using the swap button. One other would be under advanced control, of an option I'd like to show you real quickly. So if I, for example, use the sync with upper and lower curves. So I'll go ahead and green check that. We'll regenerate that. We'll backplot that. I'm going to put this somewhat in a front view. And let's watch the tool and how it rotates and tilts as it follows. It's a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother, is keeping the tool actually, in this case, looking at the two rails in upper and lower and aligning that for a really nice motion. All right, let's put this in isometric. Now we have some really nice motion. Let's go ahead and real quickly, I'm going to right click and drag this down and copy after. And I'm going to go ahead and reselect geometry. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the cut pattern, selecting the option there. If I select this, it'll deselect that. And I'm going to go ahead and select this face now in selection. Same thing with the floors. In this case, I'll deselect here. And I'm going to go ahead and select the bottom radiuses. We'll go ahead and green check. Regenerate that. Left click on that. See our tool come in from this side now. Keeping the tool in a climbing motion. Moving right along till it gets to the end and comes out. Go ahead and close that. And this will conclude this part of the video.